Bali is often introduced through images: emerald rice terraces, temple gates, beaches at sunset, and streets filled with scooters, offerings, cafes, and travelers from every corner of the world. But Bali is more than a holiday postcard. It is an Indonesian island and province with a distinct history, a powerful cultural identity, and an economy deeply shaped by tourism. Located east of Java and west of Lombok, Bali sits at a crossroads between volcanic landscapes, maritime trade routes, religious traditions, and global travel culture. Today, it is Indonesia's main tourist destination, famous worldwide but also increasingly defined by the pressures that fame creates. To understand Bali, you have to look beyond the surface beauty and ask how one relatively small island became a symbol of paradise, culture, and overtourism all at once. Geographically, Bali is the westernmost of the Lesser Sunda Islands, a chain stretching eastward through Indonesia. The province includes the main island of Bali and smaller offshore islands such as Nusa Penida, Nusa Lembongan, and Nusa Seningan to the southeast. This position matters because Bali is not isolated from the wider Indonesian archipelago. It is close to Java, Indonesia's political and demographic center, yet culturally distinct from many neighboring regions. Its mountains, coastlines, reefs, and agricultural valleys are compressed into a relatively compact space, which helps explain why visitors can move from surf beaches to temples to upland rice fields in a single day. That compact geography has made Bali easy to imagine as a complete destination, but it also means development, traffic, waste, agriculture, and conservation are forced into close contact. The provincial capital is Denpasar, the most populous city in the Lesser Sunda Islands and one of the major urban centers of eastern Indonesia. Around it, the Denpasar metropolitan area has expanded into a busy zone of commerce, housing, tourism, and transport. For many travelers, Bali begins not with a remote beach, but with the urban reality of southern Bali: airports, hotels, roads, restaurants, and dense neighborhoods. This urban side is sometimes hidden in travel branding, but it is essential to modern Bali. The island's tourism economy depends on infrastructure, workers, supply chains, and services centered around places like Denpasar and the surrounding districts. Bali is not simply a rural escape, it is also a rapidly changing metropolitan region trying to support millions of visitors while serving the needs of its local population. If Denpasar represents Bali's urban and administrative core, Ubud represents its cultural imagination. Located in the uplands of Greater Denpasar, Ubud is often described as Bali's cultural center. It is associated with dance, painting, sculpture, music, craft, temple life, and the surrounding rice landscapes that have shaped Balinese identity for centuries. Ubud became especially famous among international artists, writers, and travelers, but its cultural importance is not just a tourist invention. Bali has long been known for highly developed traditional and modern arts, including dance, painting, leatherwork, metalwork, and music. In Balinese life, art is not always separated from religion or community ceremony. Performance, decoration, and craftsmanship often serve ritual purposes, connecting beauty to devotion, social order, and the rhythms of village life. One of the most distinctive facts about Bali is that it is Indonesia's only Hindu-majority province. Indonesia as a whole has the world's largest Muslim population, but in Bali, about 86% of the population adheres to Balinese Hinduism. This religious tradition is not simply a copy of Indian Hinduism, it has developed through centuries of local practice, combining Hindu philosophy with ancestor reverence, temple networks, ritual calendars, and Balinese cosmology. Daily offerings, known for their flowers, incense, and careful arrangement, are visible across homes, shops, temples, roadsides, and beaches. They are not decorations for visitors. They are part of a living system of balance between humans, nature, ancestors, and the divine. This religious landscape gives Bali much of its visual identity, but it also structures community life in ways outsiders may not immediately see. Bali's reputation as a tourist hotspot grew dramatically from the 1980s onward. International travel became more accessible, Indonesia promoted the island as a destination, and Bali developed a powerful global image: tropical, spiritual, artistic, and welcoming. Over time, tourism-related business came to make up around 80% of the Bali economy. That figure reveals both opportunity and vulnerability. Tourism brings jobs, investment, international attention, and income for hotels, restaurants, transport, entertainment, crafts, and real estate. But when one sector dominates so strongly, the island becomes exposed to shocks, whether from pandemics, natural disasters, political events, or changing travel patterns. Bali's modern prosperity is inseparable from tourism, but so are many of its economic risks. Global recognition has reinforced Bali's status. It has hosted major international events, including Miss World 2013, the 2018 annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group, and the 2022 G20 Summit. These events did more than bring visitors; they positioned Bali as a stage for diplomacy, finance, media, and global branding. TripAdvisor has also named Bali the world's top destination in its Traveler's Choice Awards, including in 2017, 2021, and 2026. Awards like these reflect genuine appeal, but they can also accelerate the cycle of popularity. The more Bali is celebrated as a dream destination, the more people arrive seeking that dream, and the harder it becomes for the island to preserve the conditions that made it attractive in the first place. This is where the word overtourism becomes important. Bali is not just popular, it has become one of Indonesia's clearest examples of what happens when tourism grows faster than the systems built to manage it. Overtourism can show up as traffic congestion, pressure on water supplies, waste problems, rising land prices, and cultural spaces being reshaped for outside consumption. In parts of Bali, rice fields have given way to villas, roads designed for local mobility struggle under tourist traffic, and sacred or fragile places are sometimes treated as photo backdrops. The issue is not that visitors come to Bali. Tourism has become central to livelihoods. The problem is balance: how to welcome the world without allowing the island's culture, environment, and communities to become overwhelmed by the demand to serve it. Bali's natural environment is another reason it matters far beyond tourism. The island is part of the Coral Triangle, one of the most biodiverse marine regions on Earth. In this wider area, marine life is extraordinarily rich, especially fish, turtles, and reef-building corals. More than 500 reef-building coral species can be found in the region, about 7 times as many as in the entire Caribbean. For Bali, that means the surrounding seas are not just scenic diving and snorkeling sites, they are part of a globally significant ecological system. Reefs protect coastlines, support fisheries, attract tourism, and host complex webs of life. But coral ecosystems are vulnerable to warming seas, pollution, careless boating, coastal development, and unsustainable tourism. Bali's marine beauty is therefore both an asset and a responsibility. On land, one of Bali's most important cultural and environmental systems is Subak, the traditional irrigation system recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Subak is not just a way to move water into rice fields. It is a cooperative system linking agriculture, temples, water management, and community decision-making. In Bali's terraced landscapes, water is shared through networks shaped by both practical engineering and religious values. Farmers coordinate planting and irrigation in ways that reflect a philosophy of harmony between people, nature, and the spiritual world. This system helped sustain Balinese agriculture for generations, creating the rice terraces that visitors now photograph. But those landscapes are working systems, not simply scenery. When farmland is converted or water demand rises, Subak is affected too. Bali also has a layered political and royal heritage. The island is home to a unified confederation of kingdoms composed of 10 traditional royal Balinese houses, each historically associated with a specific geographic area. These houses trace their origins to the period before Dutch colonization and are considered successors to the former Bali kingdom. Today, they are not officially recognized by the government of Indonesia as sovereign political authorities, but their historical and cultural significance remains part of Bali's social landscape. This reminds us that Bali's identity was not created by modern tourism. Long before beach resorts and international rankings, the island had complex local polities, ritual systems, artistic courts, and regional identities. Modern Bali is built on those older layers, even when tourists only see the most accessible symbols. So what is Bali, really? It is an Indonesian province, a Hindu-majority island, a center of art, a global travel icon, a marine biodiversity zone, a UNESCO-recognized agricultural landscape, and a place where tourism now dominates the economy. Its beauty is real, but so are its pressures. The challenge for Bali is not whether it can remain famous, it already is. The challenge is whether fame can be managed in a way that protects the culture, communities, water systems, reefs, and sacred landscapes that made the island meaningful in the first place. For visitors, understanding Bali means seeing beyond the vacation image. For Bali itself, the future depends on preserving the balance between welcome and protection, prosperity and identity, paradise and pressure. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.